Hello, my friend. Yes, Dr. Hafiz. 31 years experience in the field of education as well as in the field of management in national as well as MNC company of Saudi Arabia and India. So, taking this educational and industrial experience, as a sales manager, as a professor, as a principal, even as a writer, the experience gained so far from almost many cities of India, as well as many foreign countries like Saudi Arabia, Africa, Bangladesh, and others. I just, when I published by 2017 my book, Allah's 5 International Democratic Ideas Must, this book, it was published by 2017. This book, I highlighted all those departments of leading university of the world, Harvard, Oxford, Cambridge, our Indian universities, that the departments which are teaching today's, modern students, postmodern students, scholars, scientists, engineers, medical professionals, and lawyers, chartered accountants, all these high professional personalities are coming out of the institute. All these departments references very surprisingly mentioned in the holy book Quran, which was revealed 1444 years before in city Makkah. In the city of Makkah and Medina, one of the best and most talented, most informed and practical personality, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who led his life not only materialistically successful, but also he did excellence in the field of spirituality, to having a connection with his creator, with our creator, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And he did excellence in the field of earthly life, worldly life, materialistic life. He also did excellence. So this holy book still now has been unchanged in our time. That's why question is that, can we learn? More than 7 billion humans of 200 plus countries, nationalities, citizens, we can say netizens, glossizens, cosmogens, can we learn the references of our lives, different professional lives, from the Quran or not? It's a very big question, because people generally know that Quran is a guidebook for the religious people, religious scholars, imams of masjid, ulemas of religious, Islamic religious schools. Whereas we know very well the Quran, consisting of 6,666 sentences, 114 chapters in this Quran. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, our creator, started sending the information, sending these news to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he enlightened Prophet Muhammad and his followers of different backgrounds, different nationalities, different cultures, different languages, who had been gathered in Medina. And ultimately, we know very well, within 100 years, almost ancient civilized nations and tribes, they had been enlightened by the doctrines, by the enlightened ideas of Quran. And thousands of years, the Quran enlightened the world till 17th, even 19th century. Just 200 years before, through the civilization of Turkey, civilization, or Baghdad, Abbasid civilization, Umayyad civilization, they ruled hundreds of years, up to Europe, Spain, and China's border, including India. Hundreds of years, more than 700 years ruled India, Muslim emperors, sultans, Muslim caliphs. So, and they had only one guidebook, major guidebook, that's Quran. And the explanation mentioned in Hadith, Bukhari Sharif, and some other Hadith, as well as leading judges' explanatory, statements that also helped Muslim civilization grow, as well as European civilization. They had learned a lot from Arab Muslims, scholars, scientists, and Arab civilization, Egyptian civilization. Arab contributed in shaping up today's modern European civilization and ultimately American postmodern civilization today. Still now today's world once again coming at the brink of Third World War, or the violence, the right thinking group, the especially chauvinist group, who are violent groups of every nation, they are coming up and they are trying to capture the cities life and countries, the whole countries had been now controlled mostly by the chauvinist group, by the violent groups, by the jealousy group, by the hateful communities. Now, how can we solve and how can we get free from these chauvinist group of many civilized advanced countries as well as developing nations and least developed countries? And how can we bring a real, true, democratic, peaceful, and continued civilizational progress? How can we bring that expected democratic world today? To bring this true democratic world, can the Holy Quran help today or not? That's a very big question. As far as my research concerned, my book, when I did start researching, I found that yes, Quran can help, because Quran's major objective is that to make every human highly educated and even rich, having high earning capacities. That's why, and every human, they need education, they need neat and clean life, transparent life. That's our desire, heart's desire. Every human has the same desire. But today we know that due to some wrong ideas, when developed in some chauvinist groups, chauvinist minds, some wrong ideologies supporting community, then they started creating violence and hatredfulness between the two communities, among the many communities, and ultimately violence, we know very well, throughout the world now is a major feature. Global warming is a major feature. Whereas Quran is highlighting we have to save the nature, we have to love the nature, we have to, we can't even leave one single leaf even of a tree without the purpose. That's the love for the environment, nature. Whereas today we know that some greedy persons, mafia, these smugglers, they started deforesting even, they didn't leave even Amazon forest. So, we will try our level best to learn the statements which had been sent 1444 years before, but still now the Quran is very much relevant, and I hope present world can be saved from today's problems, whatever educational, political, cultural, their deterioration, declines started today as female groups, feminist group. They are becoming nude, and they are supporting. They start supporting the nudity in art, nudity in Hollywood, Bollywood, and many other filmy worlds, even in nude magazines like Debonair. And these cultures, I mean, I don't think that it's a modern culture, civilized culture. So we have to rethink about our modern civilization with these evil cultures, with this wrong culture, which can't be supported by the good person, by the honest person, by the, true intellectuals, true Democrats. So let's see how the Quran is helping today. Today's small chapter is 48, Surah Al-Fatah. Al-Fatah, victory. It means victory. So here, we know very well that Prophet Muhammad got success at last to win the city of Mecca. The city people had driven out him and forced him to live in city of Medina during his life. And we know very well that ultimately Makkah was won by Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So that's mentioned here, that truly we have granted you a clear victory. I mean, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala directly talking to with Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And ultimately he had even is giving us a hope, optimistic word that the true believers should not lose hope. As we know very well, nowadays in India, there are so many problems Muslims have been facing by the BJP governments of the center as well as state. They are dealing with the Muslims, their supporters, many BJP supporters, RSS supporters, and RSS and its branches. They are just disturbing the Muslim peace, Muslims' progress, and Muslims' economic development. They are disturbing, as we found recently in Gurgaon, nearby Gurgaon in Haryana. So even they are disturbing Christian brothers, minority groups living in India with disturbance. So let's see, Quran is saying that, giving the hope to the true believer that we have granted you a clear victory so that God may forgive you your past and future sins and complete his favor to you, guide you to a straight path so that Allah might bestow on you his mighty help. Still now we should not lose hope, because the Quran still now is unchanged. It can guide we intellectual people as well as general people to be enlightened, to be rightly guided, and we shouldn't lose our hope. So our Muslim scholars of madrasa, masjids, and even non-Muslims, they also should understand the real life. All those non-Muslim brothers, sisters, they must understand their holy book also. It's not Muslims' holy book, but they are. Because Prophet Muhammad came to non-Muslim brothers and sisters. And ultimately we know that the people of Makkah and Medina and all those neighboring cities and countries, people, they changed and they embraced Islam. Today 2 billion Muslims, throughout the world, more than 57 nations, they are the followers of Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Even in India, we 250 million to 300 million Muslims, have been the followers of Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So, he is in the real sense is a true historic model, and he is a strong supporter of democratic principles. True democratic principles, not wrong democratic principle. Today, many Democrats, they are not following the true democratic features. They are following their chauvinistic democratic perception in the name of democracy. They are chauvinistic ideologies, and that can't be accepted by we modernist, postmodernist intellectuals, as well as our general brothers and sisters. So here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving us hope that we should not lose our hope. Our Muslim scholars or our true brothers and sisters of the other communities should not lose hope, should have a hope to bring the true democracy in India as well as the world. It was He who sent down tranquility into the hearts of the believers. I hope that our Muslims throughout the world and true persons, honest persons should feel peacefulness, tranquility, matlab peace in mind. That's the great asset. Money is not everything sometimes, but the peace in heart, that's everything. That's why peace can't purchase the peace. Money can't purchase peace, but peace can be developed in the mind if we believe our Supreme Creator and if we try to follow the Holy Quran and its doctrines. So we can be rightly guided. Again, God says in this surah, the forces of the heavens and earth belong to Him. And this is a study of futurology. Our scholars and scientists will start thinking on this sentence. He is all-knowing and all-wise, so that He might admit the believers, men and women. Male and female both are equally important before the eye of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Into gardens,